When you mention super ultra-wide monitors, not many are on the same level as the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9. Specifically designed for gaming, this behemoth also cuts it as a productivity machine thanks to its 49-inch curved screen and cutting-edge technology that deliver unparalleled level of immersion when using. In this video, we take a deep dive into the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9, so buckle up and let's go for the ride. You might already know its specs, but just to quickly bring you up to speed with its impressive spec sheet, you'll be getting a 49-inch 5120x1440 VA panel with a 1000R curvature. The refresh rate is an impressive 240Hz with support for AMD FreeSync Premiere Pro and NVIDIA G9 compatibility. Something to note though, you wouldn't be able to get the 240Hz using a HDMI cable because they don't have enough bandwidth, and that's where the DisplayPort comes in, but not just any DisplayPort. It has to be DisplayPort 1.4. Another area which this monitor shines is in its HDR capabilities thanks to the mini LED backlight it comes with, which includes 2048 local dimming zones, and in addition to that, Samsung lists support for what appears to be their own in-house HDR standard, Quantum HDR 2000, which if you'd ask me, I'd say I find it rather meaningless, although the spec sheet does list support for up to 2000 nits of HDR brightness. When it comes to the port selection, it has a DisplayPort 1.4 connected with display stream compression, which provides bandwidth for the full 5120x1440 at 240Hz with a 10-bit HDR, and the HDMI ports on the other hand are 2.1. It also comes with two USB-A ports. As for the display, the Odyssey Neo G9 has a VA panel accompanied by Samsung Quantum Matrix technology, which is a combination of the mini LED and the 2048 local dimming zones. Like mentioned earlier, it's got a refresh rate of up to 240Hz, but to get that, you'll need a beefy system that supports DisplayPort 1.4 with display stream compression, but then again, that's not only specific to this monitor, but it also cuts across any 240Hz monitors. It's also got a 1000R curved display, which is designed to mimic the curvature of the human eye, and for those who might not know, when you view a flat screen monitor for an extended period of time, your eyes make small but continual focus shifts that lead to increased fatigue. This monitor's curved display helps your eyes maintain a constant focus across the entire screen, resulting in less fatigue and a more comfortable viewing experience. It's also got a picture-in-picture mode, which allows you to have two separate displays at the same time. For instance, you could have a gaming console on one side and your computer on the other. As for the brightness, it does dial in at an impressive 2000 nits of peak brightness and a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio, which enables enhanced color expression and depth. If you're a big fan of TV shows and movies, you won't be disappointed streaming them on this, as it comes with support for HDR. Do keep in mind though, the impressive 2000 nits are limited to HDR content, whether it's movies or games, but when you're back to SDR content, which will most likely be majority of the time, you'll be getting about 400 nits of peak brightness. Moving on to the design. Design-wise, majority of the build remains similar to what we saw in the previous gen Odyssey G9, with a huge chunk of the backside being covered with a glossy white plastic outer housing. With regards to dimensions, it's nearly 120 cm wide, and if you decide to use its stand, the stand legs span almost 80 cm, so if you don't have a huge desk, it will be chewing up huge chunks of your desk space. At the head of the monitor stand, you'll find the Infinity Core lighting, which has see-through light around it that enables light to illuminate, which adds a bit of a futuristic look to it. Do keep in mind though, the luminance of the Infinity Core lighting isn't that significant, and I would recommend getting a monitor light if you intend to have a backlight that will reduce eye strain. Moving along, the stand comes with a flick headphone holder that you'd flick back into the stand if you don't intend to use it that way. In my opinion, I find the practicality of this flick headphone stand a bit questionable, owing to the fact that the screen is humongous and reaching out to the back would always be a juggle. On the flip side though, the stand adds some functionality through the cable management channel that you can access by removing the glossy white plastic cover and passing your cords through the channel. I also like the idea of the white plastic back panel, which hides the cables plugged into the I/O of your computer, therefore ensuring your setup remains visually pleasing. Moving to the front, Samsung continues to maintain the black theme, and we can't help but notice how accentuated the curvature is, which clearly highlights the 1000R curvature. By the way, that would form a complete circle if you're to create a circle using 4 of these monitors. On the bottom right hand side, you'll find 3 buttons and the OSD stick, similar to what we saw in the previous gen Odyssey G9. It's controlled by moving the joystick, and it includes features like black equalizer, various color controls, etc. etc. The monitor is also VESA mount compatible with a 100mm by 100mm pattern, and it just clears 31 pounds with the stand, which is about 14 kilograms, and 26.2 pounds without, which is about 12 kilograms. With all the technical stuff out of the way, let's jump into the different use cases, starting with productivity. When it comes to productivity, there are lots of benefits thanks to its massive screen real estate. Unlike the tiny monitors where you'd have to close one window in order to view the other, or have to really minimize them in order to use both at the same time, with the Odyssey Neo G9 you can have up to 6 windows open at the same time and keep chipping away at whatever project you're doing. One of my favorite apps that helps me maximize this capability is called Magnet. With Magnet you can customize how big you want the windows to snap and whatever layout suits you. In my case, I like to have 3 windows open, have my main window at the center and 2 secondary windows on either side. My personal preference being the 8:9 aspect ratio for all 3 windows. All I gotta do is click on the app icon on top of the screen and a drop down menu rolls out for which I can pick what part of the screen I want the windows to snap. For example, when writing my scripts, I'd have Microsoft Word in the middle, my browser on one side and any references I need on the other. In Premiere Pro, I enjoy the screen real estate that enables me to scrub through my timeline with so much ease, and the viewer and media pool are so much larger compared to when you use a smaller display like that of a laptop. Moving along, another use case I've enjoyed is gaming. Even though I don't game as much as I used to, the invitation to try gaming on this monitor was irresistible. With AMD FreeSync, Premiere Pro and NVIDIA G9 compatibility, this would be the ultimate oasis for true gamers out there. As you all know, refresh rates play an important part in the overall experience of a game, and this monitor has a 2 millisecond response time and a refresh rate of up to 240 Hz. Speaking of a 2 millisecond response time, by gaming standards that remains one of the fastest, but complaints around how the monitor doesn't allow you to change the overdrive settings when adaptive sync is enabled are still rife, since majority of the gamers will be using with a variable refresh rate. The best solution to this would be sticking to standard default configurations. In saying that, gaming on it the last couple of months has been nothing short of phenomenal, and most of the games I play on it have full support for super-ultrawides, and the result is some of the most immersive gaming experience, especially when playing story-driven games. Another benefit I've enjoyed while gaming on this monitor is its low input lag, which emphasizes why it is purpose-built for gaming. As always, the price question has to pop up somewhere, and in the case of the Odyssey Neo G9, it sits at the premium budget end of the market, and for a brand new unit, you'll have to part ways with 3,000 Australian dollars, although if you look around you can get it for around 2,000 Australian dollars. Still pricey, but if you've got deep pockets, it's actually worth it. It's not all roses and sunshine though. The Odyssey Neo G9 has a few drawbacks. Starting on the gaming front, not all games support the 32:9 aspect ratio, which means when playing games with the 21:9 aspect ratio, you'll have the black bars on either side of the screen. For the price, I think additional USB-C ports would have come in handy, and as you can see, I have to leave the dongle live for all my peripherals to be connected. Another drawback in my opinion is having the control module under the monitor, which requires a bit of fiddling before you find the OSD stick or the buttons. Having a remote control would make things so much easier. In conclusion, after using for about 9 months now, I'd highly recommend the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9. Even though after release it had lots of quality control issues, Samsung has made significant improvements through software updates to their units for an all-round user experience. Whether you're a content creator, gamer, video editor or just a casual user, this is surely going to give you some of the most immersive user experience. If you've got to this point of the video, leave a super ultrawide in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. And if you're still on the fence about super ultrawides, check out this video. People of the internet, I'm signing out. See you on the next one.